Papalapit na ang pagbubukas ng bagong season ng NBL, kung saan lalaro si Kai Sotto sa kanyang pangalawang season sa liga. At dahil dyan, nagbigay ang mga NBL experts ng kanilang analysis sa upcoming season. At hindi lang paborito na makapasok sa Final Four ang team ni Kai Sotto na Adelaide 36ers, bagkus paborito rin ito ng mga NBL experts na manalo ng kampeonato ngayong season. Dahil daw sa kompletos recados ang lineup ng koponan ngayon at loaded ang koponan sa bawat position. At pinatunayan nila na hindi lang sila malakas on paper but also on game na magkampiyon sila sa NBL preseason games. Inaasahan din ng eksperto na may mga time daw na magiging starter si Kai Sotto sa laro at si Daniel Johnson ang coming off the bench and be the offensive weapon. Samantala, excited na rin ang mga NBL experts na nalalapit na NBL x NBA games kung saan makakalaban ng Adelaide 36ers ang Phoenix Suns at Oklahoma Thunder sa October 3 at October 7 respectively. At umaasa nga ang import ng Adelaide 36ers na Antonius Cleveland na bibigyan ng magandang laban ng Phoenix at Oklahoma at kaya daw nilang talunin ng mga ito. At pagkakataon din yan para kay Kai Sotto para magpasiklab sa mga NBA teams at ma-scout ng mga NBA teams. Malaki nga expectation this coming season sa NBL team ni Kai Sotto na Adelaide 36ers at paborito pa na manalo na kampeonato. At para sa buong usapan ng NBL experts ay panoorin natin ang video na ito mga brad mula sa NBL Overtime.
Starting 5 unit, does it get shaken up a little bit like Kai Sotto maybe starting eventually and let Daniel Johnson be just an offensive focal point coming off the bench?
Ngunit bago yan, huwag kalimutang mag-subscribe sa ating channel at mag-follow sa ating Facebook page para lagi tayong updated sa mga latest nating videos.
I'm all in on the 36ers, and they've done it again. Back-to-back preseason champions, although I feel there's a bit more optimism going to come from Liam and I this time. Let's have a look, because they were great. They've went out, they've spent cash, and they put it all on the floor as well. I'm going to start with you, Homicide. You like where this team's going?
Man, I love where this team is going on the defensive end. They're long, they're athletic, they can switch, they can guard multi-positions. The depth on the offensive end as well. The biggest thing about this season as opposed to last season is Daniel Johnson has been the focal point offensively for this team. And right now, he doesn't have to be that. And I think he might be in a position where he's going to play his best basketball because he has weapons at every position. So each possession down, you don't have to rely heavily on him offensively carrying the load. And I think that's a great thing for him. But this team is loaded at every position.
100% stacked, loaded. And for me, the big difference from last season, yeah, it's good that Daniel Johnson's going to play the role that he's going to play now. You know, he's been all NBL first team a number of times. He's not going to be anywhere near that this season with this squad. But it's going to be great for where he is at with his career. But for me, the biggest difference was last season, despite winning a few games in the preseason, there were still question marks about some spots on the roster. Dusty Hanners, Todd Withers, what were those guys going to be? And Mahavake, how are they going to contribute to the team in their minutes? There's very little question marks with this team as far as talent is concerned. Antonius Cleveland, Robert Franks, Craig Randall, Mitch like they're just loaded. Still got Anthony Drimmick to come back into this group and add some talent as well. So CJ Bruton has a tremendous group to work with. So far, so good. They're moving in the right direction.
I'm glad you mentioned Drimmick because I think everybody's forgot that Drimmick's coming off a really good campaign in the NBL 1 North and he was playing some really good basketball. When he comes in, that's a key piece to bring off the bench. Sunday Detch, and I've read a couple of things of that starting 5 unit. Does it get shaken up a little bit like Kai Sotto maybe starting eventually and let Daniel Johnson be just an offensive focal point coming off the bench? That's an interesting thing for CJ Bruton to perhaps throw up. We've seen a lot of things with talented teams in the past that they don't bring it all together consistently enough. I think that it's all there, all the right pieces there. I love the way Mitch McCarron's attacked the preseason. Night and day compared to last year. There's still some question marks, but I think it looks all positive signs.
There's two things here. We've discussed this as well. One, this is CJ's team, right? He came in a little bit later. I'm not necessarily saying that there wasn't some talent last year, but this is CJ's team. He's had another 12 months to be like, this is how I want to play my basketball. There's no doubt that the owners have said, you know what, we're kind of sick of being disappointing and not rewarding our fans by playing playoffs. But what I touch on there, I love the fact they come out and said, okay, cool, we're talented. Everyone's talked about us. Bang, let's get to Darwin and make a statement
early. Let's just go through a couple of the motions. And I think you did this with the championship team that you played in, where you went from the preseason, you played really well. We're going to get to the NBA, NBL games very shortly and what that all means. But the fact is they went to Darwin and said, all right, there's a little bit more pressure on us this year, but let's not just coast in and go through the motions because we're talented. Let's make a statement from the start. And that's what I felt about Adelaide. Hence why I'm a lot more confident about this team being really good than I was 12 months ago.
You know what impressed me the most about the Blitz? 3 games, 3 different leading scorers. That's how it's going to have to be the entire season. If they have someone average over 18-ish a game, I don't think they win because they've got too much talent all around. We forget how good Robert Franks is. We saw it that last game in the Blitz, but Robert Franks to me has to be essentially one of their main, if not their main offensive weapon. Craig Randall is a renowned scorer. We've seen him shoot the ball a lot. But if they keep sharing the load and really following whichever hot guy it is, it's going to be hard to beat.
That's at the offensive end. For me, the big thing is going to be at the defensive end because the talent will take care of the offense. As long as they share the ball, play unselfishly, we've seen when talented teams don't live up to the hype, it's because they didn't all buy in at the defensive end. So that's the thing is going to be the thing for me with Adelaide. And he's got them up the floor, he's got them aggressive, they've got Sunday Detch and Antonius Cleveland, they've got talented defenders. If everyone right across the roster buys in at that end of the floor, they're going to be so hard to beat.
I'm not a stats guy, you two are. They'll lead the league in fast break points. There you go, done. They'll also lead the league in quotes. Because I think they are a very, very quotable team. And Antonius Cleveland is leading the way. This is what he had to say. Of course, NBA v NBL, we're going over there to win. I know I am. I know the team is, and that's going to be our goal. We're going to out there to treat the Suns and the Thunder like they're Tasmania and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. You've been in this situation before. We're going to touch on close losses shortly. But do you like that?
Love the quote except for the end. What we're comparing the Phoenix and OKC, the NBA teams, especially the Suns, with Tassie and the Phoenix. I think the Suns have been a powerhouse now for a couple of years. Maybe we change that one to, we know Tassie's been there once and they've made the finals. Maybe we change that to a Perth, Sydney or United. That's the one comparison I'm like, come on man, I love Antonius Cleveland.
Yeah.
He's the most outspoken one and whatever he says, he backs it up so far. He loves that pressure. That part was a little funny to me, but so they should. What, you don't go over there to make up the numbers. There's a chance they could do it this year. It's crazy to say.
Let's get a quote from Liam Junket Santa Maria, because you've been in a lot of these. In fact, all of these games you've pretty much been to. You're going to be there again. I wish I had a cash register sound effect right now, but I do not. Talk to me, because this team goes over there full of confidence, which we've seen a couple of times before.
Yeah, and off the back of the Blitz, where they're feeling good and in some fitness and some form. So I give them a chance to represent really well. Now, it's always interesting at these games because there's a chance you get blown out and it gets ugly because these NBA teams, their length and athleticism, we know what they can do. But there's also a chance you can hang tough. And we've seen teams do that over the journey. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. Remember, Pete, of course, you're on the sideline here, watching 1 point game. Melbourne United, a couple of defensive stops down the stretch. So that was a 1 point game in 2017. The next year, in the Valley of the Sun, the Corey Webster and the New Zealand Breakers, this was a 5 point loss. Bang! 5 point game, 90 seconds to play. They were right there. Cotton 33. Look at the score. This is the third quarter. These two were single digit games in the fourth quarter, Sydney against the Clippers. So these are the matchups coming up over the next week or so. Hopefully they can represent and come close.
Yeah, I think a Monday afternoon, can't wait for that. And then the Friday following, we will see Josh Giddey take on his former team. We'll get to that a little bit later on the show as well, because from the NBA to prediction time, you can hit us up at NBL, not only with your predictions, but, well, the abuse towards what's about to happen. Let's start with the NBL Final Four. Not the 6, this is the Final Four. I'm going to start with you, Homicide. No Melbourne team involved in the last 4 for you. I've got them winning the championship as we have a look at this. I think, look, you're right. They're still going to work their way through as a defensive unit and their identity, but I think the other end, they're going to be so hard to stop. I've got them winning it. Homicide, you're with me, buddy.
I am.
Roll through the All-NBL first team, because this is interesting. You talk about the depth of the teams, Homicide, the depth of the players. Liam, you and Corey got the identical 5 feet.
Hey.
Gee, what first time in 5 years you've ever agreed?
Look at that.
There you go. Hey, just quickly, Tyler Johnson for you, Hulls.
Yep.
At kayo mga brad, tingin nyo kaya manalo ng kampyonato ng NBL team ni Kai Soto na Adelaide 36ers sa paparating na season? At tingin nyo magandang ipapakita ni Kai sa kanyang pangalawang season sa NBL? I-komento lang at pag-uusapan natin yan.